Hello guys, welcome back to another episode review of Hollyoaks for Tuesday 6th of January 2026. Again, another very interesting episode. It was tensed, it was dramatic. I really was fired up as a viewer. We'll start off by talking about James, Steve first actually. Steve, he's refused ambulance help. They put him on a stretcher. He somehow came to his senses a little bit, but he's still not there. Rex, saw the situation from afar. He rushed over to Steve with some shopping bags, what it looked like, and then Steve said he doesn't want ambulance help, and I think Rex is going to take Steve home. And Rex did notice that in the flat, Lucas did cook for him, and he found it very strange. Credit to Rex. Rex clearly found out the motive of Lucas cooking for Steve. Steve was, unfortunately still dealing with a lot of grief, and he was poisoned last night in the last night's episode, so he wouldn't be as clued up as Rex. Again, Lucas is a terrific actor, behaving like a nutcase, and he's playing this part really well, but he needs professional help as a character. So it is interesting. We are going to now talk about James. He basically paid a visit to Froggy. Looks like they have a bit of a history. They go quite a way back. And it seems that James has visited Froggy many times in prison, maybe given him, legal advice. And in return, perhaps Froggy has helped out James with a few things, maybe any shady things that James needed, because obviously James is living on the down low. Froggy didn't know that James was still alive, so it was just mostly two friends catching up. Unfortunately, James had to give the bad news that Sully, or someone matching Froggy's son's description, Sully's description, has done unspeakable things to a client of James, George O'Donnell, and also many other people that they're now assuming. Obviously, Froggy is utterly stunned. He doesn't know what to say. He doesn't know what to do. He felt really sad and upset. James felt quite bad giving him such news as well. And it seems like Froggy really trusts James, and vice versa. They really seem to have a good, trustworthy friendship, which is quite refreshing to see. And it does seem like they go way back. So when James left and Sully came inside the flat, that's when Froggy lashed out at him, punched him, and had words. Froggy is quite old school. He doesn't mind doing some crimes, but there are some crimes that he's totally against, such as this. And unfortunately, his older son, Grace Black's dad, he turned out to be a wrong 'un, and he's the one that did unspeakable thing to Grace Fraser Black, hence how Rex was born. And it was sad that Grace has gone away without getting to know Rex as her son, but hey ho, it is sad. Unfortunately, it's very sad for Froggy as well that his second son is now seemed to be another wrong 'un, and done pretty much the same stuff as his first son, Fraser. And in the end, when he found out that, when Sully admitted that he's done it to Donnie, that's when Froggy, saw red, tried to grab Sully, and he suffered a cardiac arrest. And Sully looked quite worried. He tried to grab Froggy's phone to call the ambulance, and unfortunately, he saw Drake Hennessy's name appear on the home screen of Froggy's phone. And Drake Hennessy is basically someone that deals with people, either roughs them up or perhaps kills them. And we can only assume that Froggy was going to do that, or get Drake Hennessy to do that to his son, to teach him a lesson. And he no longer wants to do anything with his son, as you can gather from this scene. It took a dark path, a very disturbing one. Sully decided not to call the ambulance, and he's basically letting his own father suffering and perhaps gonna die, and he's left his father to die, basically. In essence, that's what it is. It is interesting. I quite like Froggy now. I'm sure a lot of viewers quite like Froggy now. It is very dark and disturbing, but Froggy's done the right thing by trying to get a confession out of Sully and trying to sort him out his own way in old school. I suppose he could have called the police, that would have been better, but I think he had his own plans. Again, plans don't always work. On positive side in this episode, we saw Cleo, Teresa, Sienna and Dodger. They're having a bit of a family get together / couples dates. You know, Sienna and Cleo, Dodger and Teresa, 2 McQueens, 2 Blakes. Although Dodger doesn't consider himself a Blake, he always considers himself as a savage. It's very interesting. Look, I really love these scenes. I absolutely love these scenes. I could watch these scenes all day. These scenes are what Hollyoaks are meant to be about. So you want to see the positive stuff. You want to see social aspects. You want to see people getting together, family, friends, having a laugh, having a good time, playing games, cooking together. I think Sienna was making some quiche, and then she sourced some black olives from France, these special olives, you know, Sienna and her posh olives. And yeah, and the way Teresa, she's a McQueen, the way she squirted that ketchup on top of the chicken wings. It was, honestly, it was so great. It was like 2 families coming together. Sienna, the posh side, and the McQueen, the more down-to-earth, humble side. It was funny. Look, I love it. I wish we could get these scenes every single time. Yeah, Teresa tried to show some affection to Dodger. Dodger isn't really in the mood for much affection, unfortunately, due to what happened to him and the experience. I wish he told Teresa. I believe so far he only told Cleo, maybe. Not anyone else. Obviously, Donnie knows because Donnie's going through the same thing. Elsewhere, Tony, Diane, Darren, Nancy, they're having a family get together, and the explosion after Morgan found out that, you know, Darren's not her dad. Diane lashed out at her kids because she paid a tenner each to her kids to look and watch and babysit Morgan. And obviously, because of their own distractions, Morgan was left to kind of wander her own and then find out and stumble across the argument that Nancy and Darren were having, and finding out that Darren's not her dad. So Diane's obviously lashing out at them. Look, I really don't like this storyline. The fact that, you know, Tony and Nancy slept together. I still find it hard to believe to this day. But what I will give credit to Hollyoaks is the fact that, or the writers, is the fact that they're patching this storyline in a very neat way, where, you know, there was a lot of drama and chaos to begin with, and now they're dealing with it as a family or friends, and they're dealing with their own way in-house as best mates. You know, Tony and Darren are best mates, and it is quite realistic in the sense, but not realistic that Tony and Nancy have slept together. I'm sorry, I will never buy that. Especially, I've been watching Hollyoaks for at least, you know, over 20 years, and I would never buy that Tony and Nancy have slept together, especially Tony and Darren being best mates. And Nancy and Tony were always platonic. They were always like friends. They're almost like siblings. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, I love this episode. Let me know what you think. Froggy, credit to Froggy. He's definitely being a character's, you know, like a viewer's favorite now. He's showing his old school. Obviously, he likes a bit of crime, but there are certain things that he just won't do. Yeah, very interesting. I'm gonna leave it there, and I'll see you in the next episode review. Peace.